Hello there, Quicksilver Slash, and today we have our favorite pirate king, MokeyDLuffy, driving the Tier 10 German battleship, the Große Kurfürst. And I've featured one video of this ship before. I'm still grinding to it myself, but seeing these videos, it's definitely on my list of priority ships to grind out. You know, for one reason or another, the battleships I just fell behind in, and I think I just had a hard time putting game in after game to really quickly grind through, whereas cruisers, because they're quicker and a little more dynamic, I found myself having an easier time grinding through them. Anyways, MokeyDLuffy is playing solo, and as you can see, it's Islands of Ice on standard battle, and I don't think I've seen this mode in quite some time. You know, normally when I wind up on this map, it's always domination. And it's a tricky map on domination because the cap that would be up in the north really gets separated by these two islands. So depending how a team plays it, they can wind up really trapped and unable to help their team as the rest of their team vanishes. So off the start, you'll notice pretty much all of Monkey's team is heading south, and that's probably a decent play. Excuse me. That's probably a pretty good play, with the exception of this group might get caught a little behind, and one of their destroyers has gone way up to the north alone, and with aircraft carriers, that could spell a bit of a disaster for this guy. Additionally, as Monkey has pointed out, there's CVs driving to the north for some reason. If you have a team that kind of all pushes one direction, the carriers gotta fall in behind them and try to use the numbers as protection, because the last thing you want is one enemy ship going all the way around and nuking your aircraft carrier. But finally, we have some enemy contacts, and that Otago is showing a lot of sides, so we'll see how Monkey's first volley works out. Looking half decent. And only 5,500 damage with one penetration and one overpen. And, you know, that can be the problem sometimes with these ships. You fire, you expect the big hit, and it doesn't come, and you're a little let down, but, you know, collectively this team's almost erased that Otago. Monkey's gonna get another shot off, and I gotta say, I love the look of these triple barrel turrets. I don't know if Monkey's running the 406s as he lands a Citadel that time, finishing off the Otago. What I was saying is, I don't know if Monkey's running the 406s or the 420s. Based on reload, I'd be inclined to say the 406s, but not having the ship, I'm not an expert, so don't quote me on that. Got a Minotaur side on, and I don't know what this enemy team's doing. You know, no Citadels there, but still 11,000 damage. That Minotaur got away with a lot. And pretty much the whole enemy team appears to have mostly come down here. A couple battleships and a destroyer to the north. The 1DD on Monkey's team that went up there is dead. No surprise. Destroyers at this tier without backup just really don't have the ability to stay in the fight. You know, you get caught out by one bad radar and you're done. Or if a carrier decides to chase you down and you don't have defensive AA on your DD, you might be done. It's definitely something that I think a lot of destroyer players could work on. Yeah, you want to push out and be in front, but stay within AA bubble to your fleet. Stay within firing range so that when you spot things, your fleet can shoot them. But Monkey right now certainly doesn't have a lack of targets, kind of having his pick, and he's gonna pick a hipper who side on. You know, after that Montana game, I wasn't sure I'd find another game where so many targets gave such a good shot, and unfortunately those just didn't go in. You can see this Fletcher cutting him off, probably just paying attention to his guns. And I really do feel things are about to get interesting down here. You've got a bunch of battleships all getting inside of 10k to one another. There's another citadel, almost 20,000 damage with that volley. And this is where the fight is going to be that really decides this match. And I'm inclined to say Monkey's team is going to walk away with this. Simply because they've got numbers. Because the other team sent 2 battleships and a destroyer to the north, they're pretty heavily outnumbered down here. They're all in a cluster. And, 32,131 damage. And the New Orleans finishes off that hipper. That was a massive hit. And I'm sorry for the laughter. Sometimes, you know, I really try not to, because I know it can get a little annoying when all you hear is laughter through YouTube, but man, another 30,000 damage there. Everything is just giving their sides to Monkey, and he is taking advantage of it all. Up to 120,000 damage, 6.5 minutes into the match. Like, you could walk away from this battle and more or less be content. You've done your ship's damage and health, you've got a kill, you know, and he's barely been touched. He's lost 5,000 hit points. So surely someone on Monkey's team must be pretty heavily damaged. And, well, the answer's kind of no. You've got a New Orleans has been hit. Okay, that Cabrosk appears to have just eaten a torpedo. The Monkey's team seems untouched as this enemy team is just evaporating. They're all sitting nearly still, and once again, side on Yamato. What do you expect to happen? Only 4,100 damage there, and, you know, you got lucky, but this enemy team is just not playing well. That said, though, you can see what Monkey's team is doing, and it's honestly what happens in a lot of standard battles. One team just hangs out near their cap and kind of defends it, and the enemy team comes in 1 or 2 at a time and just gets deleted. But that means Monkey's on his own down here. And you know what? Sometimes I might say that's a bad thing, but based on how this game's going, I think it's more they're all trapped down here with him situation. He's not trapped with them. And he's definitely gonna do some more damage. You know, things are still just sitting side on. And I get it, that Yamato's gotta be worried about these ships to the north, but if he positions him properly off this island, nothing has shots from the north, and he can actually turn his bow into Monkey and at least have a hope of deflecting some of these shells. And that's definitely something you've got to be thinking about when you're in high-tier battleships. You cannot afford to sit side on, you know. So look at the lines on the map. One of the things I kind of do when I'm looking at my position, I draw almost imaginary lines through all the openings that torpedoes or shells could be coming from. And I try to minimize how many of those, you know, kind of imaginary fire lines there are. And if I can keep that down to 1, that's perfect, because I can angle against one, I can keep my guns pointed at it, you can just do maximum effect. And that also works on just a whole team scale too. If you're ever doing team battles or in ranked, the team that really kind of has the fewest firing channels at it, well, maintaining good coverage of the map, is gonna be the one that probably walks away with the win. So this Des Moines here turning, and Monkey's got, well, at least one turret ready. Fires it off, doesn't even watch where the shells are going, and maybe it's for the best because it doesn't look like any hit. The secondaries are going crazy, a couple more shells off, and if I were Monkey personally, just on that whole like minimizing fire lines, I would get rid of this North Carolina up here. You get rid of that North Carolina, now you can just aim your bow and worry about this Minotaur, Des Moines, and Yamato. And you can see he's doing something pretty typical. He's decided, I'm turning around, so he looks the opposite way to start getting his guns going the other way. It might seem like a simple thing to do, but knowing where you want to go and getting your guns there on the way is very important. I do notice, however, that he's looking back without locking his look to free look, and that definitely hurts a bit to get the guns around. Him and this Yamato are side on, and I think he may finally eat his first chunk of damage. And it only works out to be 6,000. And in return, 3 Citadels, 27,000 damage to that side on Yamato. So a bit of luck for Monkey there that he didn't take more damage, but I don't think the Yamato was going to kill him in a single volley. And now he's just got to worry about a Des Moines, a Minotaur who's going absolutely crazy, and honestly that Minotaur is the first thing to do some serious damage to him. And just erases a Des Moines. Everything is sitting side on. He's up to 3 kills, over 200,000 damage. And this game's not over. His team's actually losing now. And that's what's kind of a little mind-boggling, is they've fallen behind. You know, that... I don't know what happened with all these cruisers here and with these ships in the north, because you can see his whole fleet is just slowly driving to the north, chasing one enemy battleship. And that's something you can't get baited into doing, as he gets another big hit on that Frederick de Grosse. See, I can pronounce it right. I'm having to think about it, but I can do it. Or at least close to right. He picks up Confederate and high caliber, and, you know, the Minotaur is just continuing to rain shells, and it's pretty much a continuous stream. And that's one of the big risks to getting in close to a Minotaur, is they can land some big damage that just stacks up very quickly. Fortunately, based on his position on the map, it appears, you know, he's at 15, 16 kilometers. That's getting towards the edge of the Minotaur's kind of effective firing range. You know, it can fire further, but the loft starts to really hurt the accuracy. And the next big duel is going to be between Monkey and this Frederick de Grosse. Only 3,700 on that one, and the damage taps are starting to close, it appears. He takes 12,000 in return, and maybe this is a turn in luck. Or maybe it's just one volley, and the de Grosse is just going to give him this side, and payback's about to happen. Yep, payback, 15,000, and... you know, now that de Grosse is within a single hit. You can see some friendly fire coming in at him. The secondary is still going, and in 3 seconds here, it should be all over for that de Grosse who just stopped moving. I can't say that I've ever seen that one before, and based on Monkey's reaction, I don't think he's ever seen it either. I think something happened where he got a temporary freeze, and as a result that happened. There's that Minotaur, time to get some revenge. Looks to be slowing down. The secondaries are the ones that finish the de Grosse off. And, well, Minotaur may be in smoke, but that doesn't mean he can't get hit. 1 Citadel, 1 Overpen, and some rough math, kind of 12,000 damage I'm guessing that did. That Minotaur is on kind of single volley hit points again, or as well. He does have a repair though, so that's something you got to keep in your mind. And these are all things that, you know, you've really got to be thinking of. Is just kind of mentally keeping track of the hit points of things around you. So that you know, okay, you know, the second it gets spotted, I know I can kill that in one volley, or that's going to take way too much. Maybe I should focus on this target. And, well, things have now evened up for the teams. Monkey's team's ahead, but the kills are even. That North Carolina is stopped and backing up. This is painful to watch. 12,000 damage. Almost kills the North Carolina. One Citadel would have done it. Not so lucky, and that North Carolina just gets away with it. And now they're pulling forward. You know, there is a time to stop your ship or go in reverse. It is definitely not when you're side on to a Gross or Kurfürst. And this one should finish him. You know, the 5,000 damage Citadel picks up his Kraken, is up to 288,000 damage. And now there's just a couple ships left to chase down. One is the battleship that's been in the north this whole time that Monkey's team's been having trouble dealing with. The other is a Minotaur. There's a DD somewhere in the middle of the map. And then that enemy aircraft carrier. And these can be tricky times in a match like this. You're ahead by points, but, you know, you don't want to go chasing too far for two reasons. One, torpedoes. When you're chasing, you're more susceptible to just driving into a volley and or getting ambushed. The second thing, when you're a ship this big, you really have to worry about, you know, someone kind of doing the sneak. And you can see enemy DD is in the cap. Had Monkey driven way over here, something to try to chase down a Minotaur, you know, he wouldn't be in a position to get back. So you always want to keep yourself close to your base, particularly in standard battle. You know, in domination, I think everyone kind of gets the math and can do it in their head. We've got to get a certain number of cap points to win. But in standard battle, it doesn't matter how dire the situation is. If you capture the enemy base, you win. And I've seen some absolute upsets just because an entire team is caught on the wrong side of the map and unable to defend. The Shimikaze does get spotted though, and you can see they're backing up. The secondaries fire. Monkey fires all those main batteries, and it doesn't matter that it's AP. AP is very effective against destroyers. One shell hit 3,500. You know, you can't ask for much more than that, even if it was HE. Got some torpedo bombers coming in. The AA on these Germans is respectable enough. Kills two of them. They're still going to get the drop off. And, well, probably going to eat at least one of these, although play them beats because Monkey just slipped between them and then the rudder kind of stays over just a little too long. Bit of an unfortunate one because I thought he had really made it. And you can see these bombers just absolutely wrecking Monkey. And he's got to be careful with those fires because you put it out too early, you get caught with a fire, and you wind up getting killed. Only one overpen there, that definitely hurts. And this Minotaur has the potential to get Monkey here. Look how quickly his hit points are just coming off, even as he was repairing there. And it can be frustrating at times like this. You can see he's looking at where the shells are coming from and returning fire, but there's a bit of luck involved. There's definitely a bit of skill, but there's a bit of luck in whether or not you land a shell when you're blind firing into smoke. But with 30 seconds left, I think it's safe to say Monkey's going to survive. And what a game. Almost 300,000 damage, 5 kills, 12 Citadels. You know, this is one of those games that it's just painful. There was no reason for all those ships to be side on so much. And yet they were. You know, yesterday in the Montana game, a lot of those ships were side on because they were angled to something else. You know, GameCon put himself in the middle of the map, so of course he's going to be able to pick and choose targets that are side on. Monkey just got a bit of luck and everyone sat side on to him. And when you have that happen, you have to take advantage of it, just like MokeyDLuffy. And if you do, 688,000 credits, 12,000 experience, close quarters, Confederate, Dreadnought, Kraken, high caliber, almost 295,000 damage, 96 shells, 12 citadels, and the 5 kills. It was definitely a well-played game, and, you know, a bit of luck involved with all the targets showing their side, but really well done by Monkey to take advantage of that. His aim was true. He didn't waste his time. When his ship gave him his side, he got the shells off, and that's something you definitely have to do. If you take too much time figuring out where to aim, or you mess a shot up, those shells kind of colliding through the superstructure or just splashing your decks normally gets you turning. And if you do, you're not going to wind up with 3,309 experience. And look at all those plane kills. You know, throughout that battle, I didn't feel there were that many planes near Monkey, but apparently there were. You know, more plane kills than the rest of his team. Most in the game, in fact. So maybe those cursed anti-air batteries are a little better than I gave them credit for at the end. And, well, when you look at the damage across the board, lots of it. And look at the ships. It's a lot of battleships that he was taking, you know, 60% of their hit points from. Huge chunk of the Des Moines, and then, you know, the Minotaur to Cow. A couple other ships. He took advantage of them when they gave him his broadside. And end of the day, walked away with 361,000 credits, which is not an easy thing to do at tier 10, and the 12,000 XP. It's a shame that there's not really anything to grind once you've got the 420s in this, which maybe he still needs. Or maybe he's chosen to drive the 4.6s, or maybe those are the 420s. You know, comment below which ones they are and tell me, because I don't know. I'm eager to get into the ship and to experience it and figure out how to get a game like this myself. Anyways, thank you, MokeyDLuffy, for submitting this. Anyone else who would like to, quicksilverslash@gmail.com. And if you enjoyed it, consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. As always, I'm Quicksilver Slash, and I'll have another one for you guys later.